I was prayed for. I was prayed and I became Christian.
Wow.
And having known Christ, that there was now a way for me to grow.
Hello and welcome to the Sweet Spot.
Welcome!
I tell you, I am very excited today. I don't know about you, honey.
So
but
excited, baby.
I feel like we have the presence of an angel in the room.
That's what you told me.
Do you sense that?
Yeah, and after we meet him, and it's compelling to touch an angel.
To touch an angel,
Yes.
to be in the presence of the angel,
Yes.
right? Well, we are so excited to be here in the Sweet Spot today. We're so glad that you're joining us here in the Sweet Spot, and we have a very special person here in the studio with us today.
We sure do.
Dr. Charles Mully. And Dr. Charles, we just want to welcome you to the Sweet Spot, Dr. Mully. We are very excited all the way from Kenya.
Kenya!
We are so excited to have you. See, we know a little tiny bit, about some of the things in Kenya. Right. But we just want to welcome you here to the Sweet Spot. And we are just blessed to have you in our presence. We really are. And I think for our listeners, you are going to be blown away because we're going to have great conversation today.
Jumbo
Sana, thank you so much for having me here. And I feel like, yes, this is the place I belong.
All right.
Yes, thank
awesome.
you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Sully is an absolutely amazing man, has an amazing life, and I see it.
So you said Dr. Sully, but it's Dr.
Yes,
Mully.
Yes,
but,
Dr.
okay,
Mully.
We get it.
We have a friend named Sully.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
He's a wonderful young man too.
Wow.
Yeah. But Dr. Mully, we are so excited to have you on here today, and we want to maybe emphasize that this story of your life is coming to the big screen, right? And so that is happening in the U.S. on a special preview, 3 days, October 3rd, 4th,
and
5th, right?
Yes.
So if you're in the U.S., October 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
That's right.
And here in Canada on October 2nd, and then again
October
on
12th.
October
4th.
4th. I'm sorry, October 4th.
And the 12th.
And then the 12th. Yes, okay. Good.
And
So
it's 67 theaters across Canada.
right across Canada.
And over 700 theaters in the U.S.
Yes, correct.
That's pretty impressive.
That's amazing. So October 4th and October 12th here in
yes.
Canada for our Canadian listeners.
That's right.
October 3, 4, 5
in the
for
U.S., across the U.S. So, Daddy Mully.
Yes.
I'm going to call you Daddy Mully because
Yeah.
I know that's what everyone calls you.
They call
is
me Daddy Mully.
Yes.
All right.
So, Daddy Mully, we want to say once again, welcome. Welcome to the Sweet Spot. So I didn't want to do a real intro because I didn't want to give any of your story away. I want to give you the opportunity to tell us your story. Mm-hmm. So if you could start by maybe giving us a little bit about where you grew up, how you grew up.
Thank you very, very much. This is a great opportunity of being able to speak to the people whom I love so much of Canada and yourselves. And that you have really welcomed me into your studios here. I'm so happy. I'm also very excited to be able to share my story. It is like an ending story. And way back when I was 5 years and going to 6 years, I found myself alone, that my own parents abandoned me. And I remember also before, when I was still younger than that, my father was so addicted to alcohol, used to use a lot of violence at home and beat my mother, myself. And therefore, through that, then one day I woke up and found that they were not anywhere around. And due to that fact, then I never saw them again for almost a period of 11 years.
Wow.
And so I had to run everywhere, begging for food, begging for help, looking for shelter. But I could get some places, but not for a long time. And life was very difficult. At the age of 16 years old is when I felt like, oh, I cannot really continue with this kind of life.
Okay, so I want to go backwards a little bit because I don't want us to move too fast. So this is, you're not yet 6 years old. You're 5 years old and your parents left. So do you have other family, uncles or cousins? Do you have anybody else that's close to you at this point?
We were, of course, where we were, it was a piece of land, lots of small property that my grandmother through my mother, grandmother through my mother, had given to my father to build a small, thatched house with the grass and muddy.
Yes.
And so we stayed there. And so when they left, then there was nothing else for me because also my uncle, they were not really for the idea of us and even my own parent to live in that piece of land. There was all the time push here and push here. They never wanted us there. However,
why is that?
It is because when in a family in Africa, you have a boy, a family, and then you are at your uncles. They think that in the future you may demand to be given share of your piece of land, of their piece of land. So the inheritance, it means a lot in Africa. And so if a child of a woman who has been really gotten married and they come back to their uncles, they would really push, they push him out, especially those days of my time, long time ago. Yeah, so within that, then there was no peace and I could not really stay with them and they chased me out.
So you're 5 years old and your parents have left and your uncle won't take you in?
I remember my aunt from my father's line who took me for a few months and then her husband was also a drunkard. He used to come and then abuse her, abuse me also, telling me out, where are your parents? Me, I'm not your parent. I'm not, for you.
Wow.
And he was so harsh that my uncle threw my auntie, sister to my father. So it was like that, broken families. And then so I had to go and beg to search for myself. So that's why life was so bad. And, when a child is without anybody to care, you enter into a bad, company, and at the same time now asking for help, and the help you don't get enough as you feel. Yeah, so that was my life.
So where did you go for help?
Mostly it was through begging and through different kind of people, and I managed to go also to the nearby small town, and I used to beg like a street beggar, of course, here, so that I could get help.
Now, did you ever fear about your safety? Because you're a little kid, and we've been to Kenya, so we know what it's like being on the streets. Did you ever fear for your safety, or was safety ever an issue?
Well, it wasn't a big issue because when you have no choice, then you cannot make any decision, a good one, which can help you. And so I had to accept anything that would come away on me. And so that one was like nobody's child.
Right.
And no, care, no worry. You worry, it's okay. But what are you going to get out of worry?
Right.
So that was my life. And I'm just speaking about hopelessness.
Right.
I'm speaking about when you have felt that there's nobody around you, you have to survive. By all means, stealing as well. You see something like that, you can take it away. And so that the way I grew myself.
Do you remember anyone during this period especially maybe a mom or so. Do you remember anyone who maybe sort of had a little special affection? Maybe they didn't take you all the way in, but do you remember anyone that kind of helped you out?
Oh yes, I remember there's my aunt.
Yes.
She had a really good heart, and she wanted to see me also go to school, but they were fighting together with her husband, and all the time because her husband was a drunkard, addicted to alcohol, and all the time when he came, he always ask me, what are you doing here? You better go.
Right.
Yeah, you are draining, our resources and all these things.
So how old would you have been at that time?
How, sorry?
How old would you be?
Oh, yeah, at that time I was between 7, 8, and then even 10 years.
Right.
And then it went on, and then I had to leave. But when I was about 10, 11 years, I was able to get some job digging in the farm. People would give me to do some weeding of plants, and so I could get something little. And so that was now life. Because when you are bigger, you cannot be helped like when you are little.
Right. Yes.
You do something.
Right.
Yeah. Now, while you were on the street, did you encounter any type of abuse, or did you find that you? I noticed that you said that both of your uncles were heavy into alcohol. Did you find that you got yourself into any of those issues when you were on the street as a child?
Muchly, I think what I got, not really, there was beatings, abused, and when you want something and somebody's telling you, hey, what are you doing? What are you looking for? And then that time, I felt like, I'm not wanted, I'm not loved. Right. People are treating me in a bad way. So that is, abuse, part of what psychologically there was really abused and not honored by anybody, not loved. So that kind of life, for me, it was like tormenting, to being tormented. Yet because you don't have a peace of mind, you don't know about the future. And that took me, by the time when I was 16 years old, and I wanted to take away my life due to all these kind of behaviors from the people, and they're treating me, and I wanted to commit suicide. So that was the big day, and I did not know what to do. I had reached to the wall, and I said, now I better die. Why should I live? And during that moment now is when, a person who was older than me, I saw me desperate and standing and not knowing what to do.
Was he a boy too, though? Was he
a boy.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, another boy, young man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And he saw me desperate and asked me if I could join him. We never discussed much, but I think he saw a desperate person. And I was looking pale in my face, and no happiness, no joy, no hope. And then he invited me to join him.
That was your angel.
Yeah. And so then when he invited me, I found we went to a church. And in this church, there were many young people who were jumping of my age and older than me.
Right.
Teenagers, and they were clapping their hand, and they were full of joy. And then I said, wow. Still, I couldn't believe what they were doing, because my mind was set to do something else. And so through that, then there came a preacher. This preacher, thank God that this man spoke about the forgiveness. That was the message of the day, forgiveness of sin. And when he was speaking, I felt the message was about me. And he really went on saying that Jesus Christ came so that he could die for each and every person. All our burden were taken at Calvary. And I said to myself, I have been having bitterness about my own father, because I was saying, when I was young, I would really beat him. We would fight.
Right.
When I grew up, I was swearing every time. And then I remembered that was now full of hatred in my heart, and it was overflowing with the, criminal thinking,
Right.
with hatred and no love. And so when he spoke about the forgiveness of sin, I raised my hand and I was prayed for. I was prayed and I became Christian.
Wow.
And having known Christ, that there was now a way for me to grow. And I was prayed for. And I started now reading the Bible.
And
I
that
went on knowing how to pray. And through that, then I got to think I must go to the city of Nairobi to look for a job. And I walked over 85 kilometers.
Wow.
Walking, no shoes,
I heard it took you 3 days.
for
4 days.
If the fourth day, I was there 3 days gone.
Yes.
Then the fourth day,
Before we go too far, I want to ask you this, because you say you were 16, left at 5, you said you saw your parents, you didn't see your parents again for 11 years. So that's around 16 as well. So did you see your dad before you accepted Christ into your life, or did you see him after?
I saw him after.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
saw
that's
him.
where you're building up to.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw, yes.
Okay.
I saw him after.
Okay.
And then after, when I went to Nairobi to look for a job,
So yes, so you continue there. Don't skip. Just keep telling the story then. Okay. All right. Good. Excellent. I just want to make sure we didn't miss that.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you.
So you continue. We get to Nairobi.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, in Nairobi. And then there are so many people, everybody's busy, and they don't want to see somebody like me, a boy, begging, asking for help. Help me. And I'm feeling hungry. I need some money to go and buy food and so forth. So people would not really believe that. And well, I thought now I have to move where the people live in the estates, residential places. And then I was going still looking now for a job because I wanted to work. And so I knocked to these residential houses where big people live, and I was knocking, cook. And as a Christian, both of you, is that the word says, knock at the door, and it shall be
open
opened
unto
unto
you.
you.
That's
Seek,
right.
and
And
you
you
shall
will find.
It
Yes.
clicked into my mind, and boom, woo. I went on knocking, and God did a miracle. An Asian lady opened the door, and then she saw me. She asked me, "Why are you disturbing us here? And what is your problem?" Then I said, I was feeling so hungry. I had never eaten food. I needed water and accommodation. Those are days when life was, I think, much better. People would really trust, not like nowadays. It's a long time ago. And then I explained my problem, and this lady said, "All right, now what kind of job that you can do?" I said, "Any job." I was really ready for anything, so long as I could get food and shelter. Those were my two main things. And then, the food, what it says, give this day our daily bread.
Yes.
When Jesus told his disciples, and you see, I could not really bring anything else in my life by then, because bread was number one. And therefore, she employed me, and $1 per month
Wow.
at the end of the month.
Right.
But I was really very happy.
Wow.
$1 a month.
$1
at the end of the
a
month.
$1 at
Yeah.
the end of the month.
But you had shelter.
Yes, and the
yes.
shelter and the food.
And the food.
So she
Yes, and the
feeds you
food.
and house you, and you got $1 a month.
Yeah, $1 at the end.
Okay.
And so
yes.
I felt like I was very happy, and felt like, wow, the God has really come to me in a mighty way. And so I worked very, very, very hard from morning to evening, cleaning the house and washing dishes and ironing their clothes and weeding flowers outside.
Now, were you a natural, or it took you a little time to build up to be a good worker?
I was like a worker, really.
Yes.
A worker.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
it was like, wow, now this is my time. And they went into it and they worked very hard. And then they loved me so much. And this woman, she spoke to her husband, who was a CEO of a very big company, where they used to plant sisal, 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 for, fiber.
Okay, yes.
And then coffee, then they had also other crops like pineapples, vegetables for export to Europe. It was, the company belonged to European farmers.
Yes.
And so this man now who employed me, he was the CEO, the chief executive officer. And so it was good when I was taken there. And then I worked very hard. I was the field clerk and then assistant manager. Later, I was promoted. And out of that, then I bought a vehicle, a good second-hand Ford Cortina.
So let's take. So we walk here. So we get to Kenya in 4 days.
To Nairobi, yes.
Yeah. To Nairobi, Kenya. So get to the capital in 4 days.
Yes.
And we go and we knock on doors until we find someone who will hear our call, right? They respond. So now we have, at 16 years old, a place to stay and something to eat on a consistent basis for the first time in your life.
Right.
And $1 a month.
And $1 a month.
Yes. Okay. On top of it, right? And then you work so hard and so diligently, the family sees your diligence. They fall in love with you, and now you get a job. What age are you when you get the car?
Yes. By that time, I was 18.
18 years old.
Yes, 18 years old. Almost 18 and a half. Sorry, wait a bit. That was 20 years. I was 20, exactly 20 years when I got money to be able to buy a car. 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, was that...
How long? Go.
Sorry, honey. Was that the first time you experienced love, receiving love from a mother figure, or like, how was that for you?
Indeed, working at this the Asian family who are gone, it was the beginning of me realizing and feeling love. They were Catholics, both of them, they were Catholics. They had love on me. They treated me so well, and they really extended that kindness and the mercy to me. And they wished me well. And so I remember even the woman, she spoke to her husband. She said, "This young man has got a very bright future. Why can't you put him in your company rather than him serving us here?" I would have really worked there for a long time. But this lady said, wow, she never wanted to stay with me. She saw a bright future for me. And she spoke to her husband. Husband was convinced, and then they employed me in their company. And then I moved from there now to the field, about 50 kilometers away from the city of Nairobi, where they had the big farm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it went.
Wow.
That's
wow.
amazing.
Yes.
I'm speechless.
Yes, absolutely amazing story. So now, if we can go back, somewhere in there you encountered Dad again. So maybe speak to that. Right. And in addition to that, maybe speak to whether or not God forgiving you or you forgiving your dad was most important.
It was very important, first for me to realize that God's grace through forgiveness was greater than anything, because that one opened now my heart, my mind to love my father and my mom who abandoned me. And that came into a sense that immediately after, when I was prayed for, I felt like sorry. And one other thing also I came also to discover when I found them, it is the story that my mother told me about my father, that he was left by the mother soon after he was born.
Okay.
So he was born and he died.
Okay.
And he was brought up by his elder sister. And there was a lot of abuse as he grew. And he never went to school, of course, but he faced a lot of terrible problems. And his father also had left them. And they went to a known stage. The father, my grandfather, through my father.
Right.
So these we came after I had really gone to look for them, and got reunited again with them. And then I said, I forgive you, Dad, I've forgiven you, even with that mom having stated and narrated about my father's time when he was young. So all these things, God is so wonderful and amazing God, because when there are those kind of confusion and life of confusion and a life of hatred, life of like those who take drugs and alcohol, sometimes we may blame them, but we don't know the power of darkness, the power of evil, how we translate and bring all these things. And unless we come before the throne of grace and through Jesus Christ, sometimes it can be so hard for our life to be changed. Yeah, so those are the things that I also learned when I met. And I forgave them, but they were very, very poor. And my father wore very torn clothes. And by that time I was working, I had money. And then I took them from where they were and bring them to where I was, and build them a nice house for them, and took care of them up to this day. It's quite a long time since that time. Yes, so we had a best friendship. That relationship with my father became my friend, and we both grew, and they gave me a lot of respect and called me like his father. He used to call me his father because of respect and
That's
that
beautiful.
what he saw through me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, are your parents still alive?
Well, my mom is alive.
Yes.
And my father died
Yes.
about 2 years ago.
About 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
2 years ago he
Okay.
died, and he had cancer. And I also remember when he was in the hospital in Nairobi, and they called me, and then I went, and then he, I went there regularly. But before he died, he said, "What you are doing very good, serving God. Please don't ever surrender. Continue with the work that you are doing." And he was blessing me when he was dying, and after that, he died. Yeah, he died
That's
in hospital in
powerful.
Nairobi.
That's powerful.
So that's how my father.
That's powerful.
It seems like we have enough for 2 movies already, and the story's just beginning.
It's just beginning.
So we are actually going to just halt right here, because we finished our time for the first show.
Yeah.
But you're gonna stick around so we can do this again, so we can have a second show, so people can tune in again next week to hear the second part. Would you do that for us?
Oh yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
with
Dr.
the,
Mully.
with the old heart.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
yes,
Excellent.
thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you
Good
so much,
one.
Dr. Mully. You've been absolutely amazing. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. And please, please, please go online. If you're in any of these cities across the U.S. or Canada, if you can have the moment to check out Dr. Mully's movie, it is going to be absolutely amazing. It's 90 minutes long, so perfect timing. Please do. And the dates are again, honey?
October 3, 4, and 5 in the U.S. and October 4th and 12th here in Canada. All right.
Absolutely.
And if you're listening somewhere else, look it up online and see when it's coming to your area. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sun will shine.